going on? Charles Botensten, and it's been a while since I did one of these holding camera things. I just wanted to send out some Sunday love, or whenever you were watching this. And one thing I really wanted to just go over three things that I have been, three books actually, that really, I'll say two books for now, and I'm going to be coming out with full book reviews, but one of them is The Subtle Art of Not Giving a Fuck by Mark Manson. Unbelievable book. And obviously it's a very, whatever you want to say, controversial title or whatever. But to be honest, it's a very well written book. And it was, I wish a book like this came out when I was in, middle school or high school or whatever, especially because of social media, is that everyone is putting so much emphasis on the amount of followers they have. They give away their self-worth. Your self-worth is tied up in how many followers you have. I have 1,000 followers, which sounds like a lot, but the thing is, first of all, I'm 32. All those people that are like, well, I'm 18 and I have blah, blah, blah. So number one is the amount of followers. The engagement I have is even worse. It's like, I get like 20 likes a photo, all right? So number one is, I just got a text. So number one is, I know that it's hard to not wrap up your self-worth in the amount of followers, especially if you're in high school or middle school, or you know people that are really crushing it, or you follow someone like the Jenners, or is that the Jenners? Caitlyn, or no, not Caitlyn. One of the Kylie and Kendall. Shows how much I give a shit about Hollywood. So The Subtle Art of Not Giving a Fuck, 100% necessary. And number two is The Untethered Soul by Michael Singer. It's a little bit deeper. It's really only for the people that are, I guess, a little bit further on the self-development journey. But essentially, it's taking The Subtle Art of Not Giving a Fuck is essentially the analytical way to explain why you should not care, okay? And one of the bases is that we feel that the biggest problem we have is we feel we should have no problems. We feel like the world should be perfect, that there is going to be no pain, so we try and avoid pain. Okay, so The Untethered Soul by Michael Singer, if you want to start, go to Michael A. Singer and Oprah. And they had a discussion, and there's 4 videos. And they're only about 3 or 4 minutes each. You could crush it. Obviously, it depends on how fast you watch your videos. I watch it at 2.5, sometimes 3, depending on how well I can, listen to them. But what Michael Singer talks about is that it's complete acceptance of what is and what isn't. You want a great body. You want things to be different. You want the environment to be different. You want more business. There's complete acceptance. When you are in complete acceptance, then you can take action. Because when you are not in complete acceptance, you're coming from lack. So what you're saying is, I don't like the way I am, so I need to improve. Okay? This is really deep, okay? This is really deep. And the reason it's really deep is because it bypasses the analytical mind, and it really goes to the emotional side of why, and I'll talk about that in a second, why you need to be doing certain things and why you shouldn't be doing certain things, which is we feel fear, we think it's real, and then we don't do something about it. We feel that we're not worthy, so then we feel bad about ourselves, okay? This is insane because I went 31 years in whatever amount of, I think, what did I say? I was 32 before? I'm 31. I'm turning 32, but I went 31 years of my life thinking that fear and worry and shame and jealousy and all those other negative emotions, I don't really get stressed out. So I can't really put that up there. But I do get fear and worry and things like that, which I guess is a little bit of stress, but I feel stress is a really deep word that affects your body in ways that you do not want it to affect your body. You'll age a lot quicker, you'll go bald, you'll get cancer, you'll get diabetes, heart attacks, and things like that. Stress is one of the things you need to eliminate. However, what I thought was that fear and worry and everything like that it's natural, and I need to feel it and everything else. So what Michael A. Singer says is that you need to feel it, but you have to know that it's natural and that you need to just let it pass. Okay, so it's not easy. all right? And that's why it's a deeper book. So you have to read The Subtle Art of Not Giving a Fuck first, because that will talk about that we feel that there should be no problems ever at any time. And number one is that you will never be perfect, okay? Life is never going to be perfect. Life is not perfect, because if life was perfect, we wouldn't know that it is perfect, okay? Think about that for a second. If we knew that life was perfect, that's the thing, is that we try and make it perfect. But the thing is, life is always changing. Life is always changing. So the founding fathers said, this is the best way it should be. Ford said, this is the best car right now. This is the perfect car right now. Life is always changing. Your body's changing. The technology, everything is always changing. So that's the thing, is that how could it be perfect if things are changing? Your body, your mind, everything right now. Cells are dying. Cells are regrowing in your body right now. And you think that your body should just be perfect. It should just stay perfect. It's never going to be perfect. The world is never going to be perfect. You know, especially with social issues, people think that say we solve every social issue, that every social issue that has ever come up is in your mind, by the way, because your mind is the only one that is the perfect way that life should be. Meanwhile, there's other players in this world, other people in this world. So we think that everyone should think the way we think, okay? So I'm going to take this a step further, is that we have insecurities inside of ourselves. This is from Michael A. Singer's The Untethered Soul. It's a very deep book. So this is what I did. I talked about it on the podcast. If you want a slight plug for the podcast, I really unleash on the podcast. I really like that, because there's no, video and whatever, and people get bored of video and everything else. Like you're probably right now at 7 minutes. So Michael A. Singer says that not only are we never going to be perfect, but the complete acceptance of pain, pleasure, is exactly what we need at every single time. And if we don't have that, then we're never going to actually feel any feelings, because we think, okay, this is the easiest way to put it, is that we have an insecurity inside of ourselves. Say rejection. Okay, say whatever your insecurity is, that approaching a pretty girl, being really smart, being really intelligent, putting up a picture that gets no likes, being vulnerable, being authentic, putting out who you really are instead of your social media presence, things like that. So you have an insecurity about that. So what we try and do is we change the outside world, we change the external world to meet our insecurities. Here's an example. I see a pretty girl online. Say my insecurity is a fear of rejection, which it was, and I don't want to say it is, because that means I still accept rejection, which I don't. So you can accept rejection, but it doesn't need to affect you, okay? There's a difference. The rejection happens, it's how you deal with it. Do you say, oh my God, I'm not self-worthy, I'm not worthy, or whatever. So I see a pretty girl. Say my insecurity is that I have fear of rejection. I see a pretty girl online, blah, blah, blah. So I change my outside world. I really want to talk to this girl. She is my type physically. She's put together. She's confident, everything. She's talking to a friend, so she's social, whatever the case is. I try and change the outside world to help my internal world. My internal world is I have a fear of rejection, so I change my external world to not approach, to not make sales calls, to not go out on a limb, to not be okay that things are the way they are. So we change the external world. We hang out with certain people all the time, even though they're not good for us. We have a deep insecurity of bettering ourselves, getting a better body, getting more money. But then we have an insecurity that rich people suck, or rich people are bad, or successful people, they have problems and I don't want to be successful. So we change the external world. We sabotage the external world to meet our internal insecurities. Listen, I know that's really deep, but that was the basis of why I did the last podcast, which is if you stop self-improving, and self-improving is not like the woo-woo, like sit on a cloud in a mountain and just meditate for 45 years. Do it, fantastic, that's not me, all right? I mean, if there is a problem in your life and you are not actively fixing it, yet you are complaining, you have no right to complain because you are actively not doing anything. You're not actively changing you in your relationship or changing the relationship. You're in a shitty relationship, you want a better relationship, there's a problem in the relationship, and you don't say anything, you can't complain. You can't have drama. You can't have drama. You can't complain because you're not doing anything. You can't bitch that your partner sucks, or your business, or your body, or society if you are not actively doing anything. So that's why before, when I couldn't think of Kendall and Kylie, I couldn't think of them because number one is I don't complain about Hollywood. I don't care. I could care less. That's the thing, is because I'm not actively following them. I don't really go to movies or anything else. And that goes back to the subtle art of not giving a fuck, is that we give a fuck about everything. Everything we care about. The problem is, if you care about everything, you really don't care about anything a lot. If you care about everything, you don't really care about anything. Because if you care about everything that crosses your life, I don't care about Hollywood. I don't care about movies. I don't go to concerts. That's the thing. That's me. Who are you? That's the thing, is being complete acceptance of what I like and what I don't like, and who I am and who you are and who your friends are and who you hang out with. That's it. That is life. That is life, is complete acceptance of what is and what isn't. If you want to break it down to one sentence, what is, and what isn't. Okay? I just lost $2 million in sales deals, which it doesn't equate to $2 million. That would equate to about $60,000 in commission. I lost that. What am I going to do? I can either complain, I can either bitch, I can either stress out about it. Listen, this is what Michael A. Singer says in The Untethered Soul, and I know I'm reaching 12 minutes, but I really hope this is why I sucked for 22 years of my life, is because I didn't listen to people like me, okay? And I'm not saying I'm enlightened or anything else, but take just little bits and pieces. You don't have to agree with that. I don't want you to agree with everything. I want you to actually question what I have to say and see if it fits into your life. But the biggest thing is, I lost $60,000 of business in the last 2 days, okay? Decent amount of money, you know? Like if I was just starting out in the workforce, I would be like, holy cow, right now, I'm not saying I'm making hundreds of thousands of dollars, but if it makes me if that affects me, then I don't get the next 60,000 because I'm still affected. And it's the same thing with a relationship. If you don't talk about the problems in the relationship, if you can't trust your partner from handling, this is the whole thing on why people resonated with Donald Trump, is because of the PC, okay? And it has nothing to do with Donald Trump. This has everything to do with the backlash of people, social warrior justices and triggered, and that whole thing is that if you cannot accept bad things that happen in your life, you will never live a happy life, because bad things will happen. You will lose $60,000 in 48 hours. That will happen. If you're playing big, that will happen. If you're in a relationship, they may break up with you. They could die. Shit happens. And if we protect ourselves, so much so because we have insecurities on the inside that we resonated on the outside, we're never going to live a full life. We're never going to live a happy life. We're never going to be satisfied with life because we're always going to want to change the external to meet our internal insecurities. I think everything should be perfect. So my spouse should never argue with me. They should never be mad with me. Business should always go perfectly correct. There should be no downturns in the economy. Every client should want to work with me. My gym, the weather, society, laws, drama, reality TV, technology. What do you think about Blockbuster? Do you know who Blockbuster is? What about, let's see, other Nokia phones? They used to own 52% market share, okay? Blockbuster was valued at like $56 billion. They're nothing now. Walmart, do we care that they're soon closing stores and going out of business? What about Kmart? What about Best Buy? Do you care about them? That's business. That's not innovating. All right? So I know that's on 16 minutes of just pure mayhem. I have no idea what I just said. I just blacked out. But to be honest, it was just necessary. It's just necessary. To the 2,056 people that are subscribed and the 200 people that are going to watch this, it's just, that is enough that what I hope one thing resonated that you then take to school or your business or whatever, and you have that tough conversation, or you read The Subtle Art of Not Giving a Fuck. Literally both of those books and The Untethered Soul, like I said, go in The Untethered Soul, Michael A. Singer. This is someone that has read hundreds of books, maybe at 1,000 now. God knows how many YouTube hours, days, years of YouTube hours. And those books resonated. I don't know if you're at that point in your life or your self-development or whatever, but that's why you continue with self-development, because you'll run across two books like this and it will, because if I lost 60,000 48 hours ago, or 60,000 in 48 hours 3 months ago, I would have lost my shit. I probably would have, whatever. But now I'm like, all right, you know what? What am I going to do? What am I going to do? It's not that you don't feel the feelings. You could see it. You could feel it. It's just complete acceptance of what is. Okay, you know what? That sucks. That sucks. You know what? All right, let's go. It's complete acceptance. If you want to get really angry and really blah, 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 just keep it to a minute, 2 minutes. Throw things, break things. Really get into the emotion. Don't justify it. Don't stuff it down. Bring it up. Talk about it. And that's it. That's it. And you're done. And then you're good. And you're fantastic. All right, so there was a lot in there, probably all just contradictory, but have an awesome day. Thank you, honestly, everyone that has subscribed and that will subscribe, because this started as a small little project, let's see, and now I'm like, you know what, I'm going to take this as far as I can go. I'm going to try and get some production behind it, some money behind it. Obviously, I don't make any money from this. I lose money. I just bought a new microphone that's attached to my iPhone. And by losing money, I don't mean I spend money, but what I mean is there's a lot of value that I get out of it. And to be honest, in the future is that this is going to be the platform I'm going to use in 10 years when I'm speaking globally and making 100,000 a speech, and why am I saying that? Because I truly believe it's going to happen. All right. So you need to have big goals as well. All right. So have an awesome day. Talk to you guys soon. I honestly love you guys. Keep up the self-development. Talk to you soon.